Yeah, I just, yeah. Put my phone on silent.
You're coughing now, Peter.
Good morning. We just change of plan. We're going to do Josie first because she has to get back because she's under the staff and she said she'll only take 2 minutes.
Right. Well, if she's getting our lunch, you know, we better slip it.
Yeah, to do our morning tea, so we need to. Good morning, everybody.
Morning, Josie.
Hang on a second, I just have to follow the format of the agenda and I just have to welcome you all to the meeting and call for any apologies. Are there any apologies? There being none, we'll move into public forum.
Good morning. I'm here on behalf of the Coromandel Rugby Club and we're an umbrella of the Coromandel Touch Club. I'm just here to talk about the Pound Street fields. We are using them. We do need them as recreation fields, and we would love them to become, you know, beautiful fields. But at the moment, we're just waiting for that, you know, council to be able to make them better. We used them on Thursday night, and it was great for touch. We would love to use them for rugby. We would love to have a whole other field over there. I know that there's been some trouble with people who want to walk their dogs there. Unfortunately, dog poo and children don't mix. So we asked for the signage to be put up to prevent people walking dogs there. I know that there's probably today going to be people coming to you to ask you to change the designation of those fields. And I would like to say that we really do need them. Also, I can't see anywhere else in the community that we could possibly have more fields going forward. And hopefully we will increase the population and we will need more and more fields, sports facilities. Yes, so that's basically it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Josie.
Are there any questions?
Yes, if there was if it was possible about some arrangement being able to be made where there was a guarantee that the dog poo, I mean, I'm just being devil's advocate here, just I'm not taking a stance or anything, but it's just.
Dog poo, dog wee. Do you really want us rolling around the dog piss?
Yep, hadn't thought of that.
You know, it's the same thing. We have real issue with dogs up on the actual rugby field as it stands.
Okay.
Let alone that area.
Okay.
We're constantly picking up dog poo. Okay. Constantly. And we've had horrible things where children have actually ended up in dog poo.
Yeah.
And for volunteers, which every single one of us are, to have to go and walk the field to pick up the dog poo before the kids can play, before we volunteer our time to you know, coach and manage and stuff the teams. It's just, you know, we just don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, right, good. Thank you. Yeah, okay.
No other questions?
No, not at all. Just one point, Josie. I think the light might be on your camera. So you'll get a flat battery.
Oh, well, there we go.
Hey, I appreciate your presentation, Josie. I really do. Have you had any confrontations with dog owners down there up to this point?
I wouldn't confront anyone.
No.
No, it's not my personality.
No, I don't know. I don't know about that.
No, I mean, I would say, you know, like if they were absolutely running their cat dogs on the field and watching them poo and walk away, I might say, excuse me, can you come and pick it up?
Yeah.
And I would say, you know, hey, look, have you seen the signs?
Yeah.
No, thanks, Josie. It's awesome.
Good to stay out of that in that respect.
But I'm definitely not going to tell them to piss off anything.
You're not a policeman.
No, it's not my role. But I will, of course, if there was a continuing issue, I would bring the enforcement officer.
Good on you. Make sure you do.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Josie.
Thanks, Josie.
Right.
Clear.
So we're just going to take a bit
It's not. It's going to be tricky.
No, it's not.
Thank you.
Good morning, Christian.
Who's going first? You and Sandra, take your full time.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning,
I understand that Sandra and Nina would like to talk to us.
Forward and speak with your big drama voice.
Kia ora, Peter, John, Jan, Kim and Judy. We are students from room 4 and would like to talk to you about the backfield behind the school. We all really want the Pound Street field to open for walking again, and this is because we're the next generation of Coromandel and we need to learn how to sensibly walk dogs. Since the field has been closed, Zika has peed 3 times in class and we can't afford it to pee anymore. This is because she needs a quiet space away from noise to do her business. Could you have a wee in front of all these people? The field on Pound Street is close to the school to walk her and give her a safe space to do what a dog needs to do.
Dogs need to socialize with other dogs outside in a neutral area because they can struggle to socialize on a lead or in their own homes. This is because they feel trapped on a lead, so they need freedom of the Pound Street field to run around with their friends. They also become territorial of their homes, so if another dog comes into their home, they can become very protective of it and can attack even other dogs. Do you want Coromandel Town full of angry dogs?
We think it's important that Zika gets to express her feelings. Here is the point of view we think she would have.
I see these humans playing around and they are so happy, but I have to stay in the back room and not have fun. How do you feel if your house or play area got taken away from you? Every single day I have to wear a lead. It hurts my neck. I want to be somewhere where I can be free, not on a lead. I'm too scared to meet other dogs on a lead, as my previous owners weren't very kind to me and didn't help me meet other dogs. So if you humans help me and my classmates get that area back, all dogs can be happy with humans. I promise I will teach the children to be sensible dog owners.
So please help us get that doggy back on track.
Oh, well done.
Well said, girls.
Dear Peter, John, Jan, Kim and Jean, we feel strongly about having a dog walking area next to our school. We think the council should let dogs back onto the field. There are already 3 sports fields and we don't need any more. We only have 1 dog walking area on Wharf Road. This is not safe for dogs to run around in because it is not fenced off like Pound Street and is next to all the roads. If you were a dog, how would you feel if your running area and toilets got taken away from you? We don't want unhealthy dogs because you took away the dog walking area. Dogs get the most efficient exercise off the lead. I strongly suggest they should have the freedom of running around in the dog park. Would you like to spend your life on a lead? Instead of taking away the dog park, I think you should put some bags out for their poo and some fins on Pound Street. So the owners don't have any excuse not to pick up the dog's poo. It is not good for dogs to meet up only, or in their own backyards. They are territorial. When they are on the lead, they feel scared and they don't like to make friends with other dogs. This field is a neutral place for dogs to meet up and socialize. Then what are we supposed to do when summer comes? We are not allowed to play with our dogs on the beach. All dogs should be allowed in the backfield because they need fresh air and a space to be free. Zika is teaching us how to be good dog owners, but we need the space to train her and exercise her. Bullfront isn't good for us as it is too far away and it does not have a fence for safety like Pound Street Field. We're gonna tell you some questions. Listen carefully. Number one, how would you like it if you were a dog and you couldn't get fresh air and space to move around free? Number two, how would you like it if someone took away your favorite place to go? Three, how would you like it if you had nowhere safe to go in town with your friends? Grace and Jesse.
Well done, thank you, girls.
Yeah.
Kia ora, Peter, John, Jan, Kim and Jean.
The backfield is a space for everyone to use in their spare time. Dogs need fresh air and they need to be healthy and fit. Dogs need a lot of fresh air so they don't get skinny and lazy. They need a safe space to meet other dogs. They can be very loyal and aggressive only when they feel unsafe. They could get angry at others and attack them to socialize.
To socialise. They need places to play off leads. You would like to put a fence through the middle of the field for the dogs to have their own space and the touch teams can still train there too.
We could put doggy bags and bins at the gate so the owners can pick up the dogs.
Very good,
Good on you. Yep.
Kia ora, Councillors of Coromandel. We are here to talk to you about you placing a no dogs allowed sign on our field where we walk Zika as Coromandel. We need to train dogs to help support children in our community. Dogs make us feel happy. We like learning about how to care for them. We want to be good dog owners and give Zika a big space to play. We are the next generation of Coromandel and we need a safe space to train dogs and learn how to be sensible dog owners. Since Walk Road is not fenced and is right by the road, dogs can get hit by cars. Do you want to deal with something as sad as that? Some of us think we should split the Pound Street field in half so we have a sports field and a dog field. One half should be a dog park and the other field should be for sports. The council can supply dog waste bags and a bin to encourage people to be sensible dog owners and clean up after their dogs.
Good work, Phyllis, thank you.
Kia ora, Peter, John, Jan, Kim, and Jean. How would you like it if someone took away your land? Something you played, enjoyed, socializing with your friends. Why are you doing this to us? Our dogs need a place for them to have some dog time. Why are you taking away our very special place for lots of Coromandel dog owners? Young and old use this space to train, exercise, and socialize their dogs. need a place for them. And the sports people already have 3 fields to use. Not all locals like sports. You need to think of non-sport things too.
I love Zika as much as my family. There are enough sports grounds that people can use at the rugby club and school. That section of land by Power Street should be for dog walkers and dogs. Dogs cannot run inside their house on the streets, nor do all people have a big enough backyard for the dogs to run. Dogs also need fresh air and exercise, or else they could get very anxious and angry. If we were all to use the dog park at Wolf Road, there could be dangerous accidents as it is not fixed in. Dogs can get very ill too if they don't get enough exercise. They need to be healthy to be happy. Dogs can't always be on the leads because their owners can't run as fast as a dog. The backfield should be used for dogs to run and play. It is a very good space as the fence can stop dogs from running out.
What happens if your life is taken away from you? That's why we're here fighting for those who can't voice their point of view. Let's give Coromandel dogs their own safe place.
Thank you very much.
Dear councillors, this is a letter from Zika, our school therapy dog. I have had a really sad start to life. I was used as a puppy dispenser, and my first owners were cruel to me. I was trapped in a room to make puppies. I came to Coromandel Town to teach the children how to be good dog owners, to help them be better humans and happier, because that's what dogs do. There are not many safe places I can go here in Coromandel, especially in the summer, as the beaches are a big no-go. Jack's Point isn't fenced, so I could have a serious accident on the road. That's why some dog owners can't let their dogs off lead. So where can I go? Pound Street Field is perfect for me. I can run around and get rid of all my energy. Dogs need that. We can't do it on a lead. It can go to the toilet. I can go to the toilet and my humans pick it up. I can't go to the toilet around lots of people as I don't feel comfortable. Why don't you remind those forgetful humans by putting up some dog nest bags and a bin? I really find it hard to meet other dogs on a lead. This is because I feel trapped and need training. I also don't like meeting dogs at my house because I like to protect it. So please give me the space to meet new friends and let off a bit of steam. Then Coromandel will be full of happy dogs, and wouldn't that be great?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, kids, and you've raised some very, very good points there, and you've given us plenty to think about. Has anybody got any questions they'd like to ask the students or the school dog? God, that's the first time I've heard a dog talk.
Just want to say thank you. It's really good. Well done, Claire. Yes.
Yeah.
Are you going to give us back to dog park now?
You've certainly given us a lot of
Yeah. We really appreciate letting us have our voice. We've had a lot of fun writing and being passionate about our writing. So it's been a great learning journey. Thank you very much for letting us do
Can I
that.
just ask Claire, can I just ask you a couple of questions?
Of course.
Absolutely, although you didn't speak. Hey, look, that was awesome how the kids showed up here today, and it's a great way for them to learn about how things work. I was just going to ask you, are you aware, say in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, that there was a number of sporting groups that approached council and the community board for extra sporting grounds in Coromandel?
Well, I'm new to the area, so I've only been here a short time. I do understand that I have spoken to sports people, and I understand that some of the other grounds aren't suitable, that there's been glass on there or it's been not appropriate to do sport. So maybe we need to look into that to make really good sports area for the sports people and then a really good dog area for the dog area.
I was leading there actually. So yeah, so having had that meeting in that vision, the community board and the council at the time actually spent, I think it was about $500,000.
Wow.
Which was a lot of money back then. It actually depleted our reserves with the idea that would be sports grounds in the future. We've actually, prior to you, had a representative from the rugby touch group saying they actually now need that extra space and they will be utilising it. Are you aware that it's not just a matter of this community board to say that's no longer a sports ground? It has to go through a process to council to be, it is a sports ground now, was designated a sports ground, and it takes a little bit of work to get that designation off. This community board cannot make a decision today regarding that.
Yeah, we're wondering why they can't use the school grounds for that, because there's two massive fields there. So that's all in all, that's the rugby field and then the two school fields. 3 fields seems to us, for a community this size, enough sports fields, because there's not enough dog areas now, and there's some really angry dog walkers, and we've just...
Yeah, there is a, once again, this community board actually invested close again to about $500,000 into the school grounds, I believe, about 15 years ago. And there is an MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, between the school and the community that they can use those sports grounds. But there are times when there's exams or whatever, when that's inappropriate. Would you actually, if that area was in Pound Street, couldn't be made into a dog walking zone, be receptive to another area being developed that was appropriate and was zoned appropriately?
That would be amazing. We just want a safe space that's fenced, that we can run in with our dog as well.
Yeah. It might not be right next to the school, but there could be another.
But we could work it into our timetable so we could move to there.
So another area somewhere that was dog friendly and what have you, if we could work on that, would be a. Okay, so that might be the answer.
That could, and that's what we're learning. We're learning that, there's other points of view, and that, we have to all work together.
Precisely.
To make as many people happy as we can.
And we want to make you happy.
Thank you very much for listening to us. It really
Okay, guys.
It's well done.
Yeah.
Have you got your tablets in order in here?
Yeah, look, something. There's got to be another year.
No, I'd say no.
I'm typical school child.
Kia ora.
Kia ora, good morning. I'd say that was a hard act to follow, eh?
Oh, they were pretty cute.
They were pretty good. It's a very valid points. So I have got some notes, I'm just going to ad-lib probably. So I'm Vicky and this is Tara. And we're here this morning with some of our other dog walking friends to ask for a reconsideration of the ban of dogs on the field down at Pound Street. My husband and I moved into Coromandel in 2019 and we didn't know anybody when we arrived here. Shortly after we got here, we adopted a little puppy called Pippi, who's a little miniature schnauzer and a very delightful, friendly, happy, bouncy little dog. And because of the field there at Pound Street, we noticed that there were other people down there with dogs, and so we took Pippi down there. And in so doing, we found a community of people who were like-minded to us, who had little dogs to walk. We formed friendships that we would have otherwise found very difficult to find in a new community. And we also were able then to socialise and integrate and train the dog. Early in October, we found that the field had changed and the dogs were banned from the field, and also a $300 fine was imposed on anybody who either crossed or used the field with a dog. We're responsible dog owners. We need somewhere to train and run our dogs. We pick up the poop. We have our dogs on leads if it's necessary to put the dog on leads. We keep the dogs on leads. We're one of the odd 644 dog owners in the area who all have tags on their dogs, which provides about $52,000 a year in dog registration. We have nowhere to go. We can walk to the field from our place on Rings Road. The field is safe, it's fenced, it's flat, it has easy access. There's safe parking and it doesn't interfere with any other property or recreation. Now we find there's nowhere for us to go. There are no dog-friendly areas in Coromandel, with the exception of Patukirikiri Reserve, which for many reasons is unsuitable. It's not fenced, it's unsafe, and particularly unsuitable for the demographic of dog owners who use this sports field. And as an aside, and all the time that I've been taking Pippi to this sports field, I've never seen sport being played. A lot of dog owners that we've met who use the field are older residents, some of whom live on their own, some of whom don't drive, some of whom have limited interaction with others. We meet people of different ages and stages in life, the kids, teachers. We enjoy the company of each other. We all parent the dogs to ensure that they're safe. We find a camaraderie and a connection with others by walking our dogs. It's well known that exercise, and particularly walking, is important for health and well-being, that mental health in particular is improved and maintained by being active and by being out in the fresh air. And this includes animals. To be healthy, dogs as well as people need to be free. Dogs need to be able to run loose and to chase. They need to learn to be social. They need to learn to get on with each other and with human beings, and they need to be exercised freely. The field at Pound Street provided that. We learn training skills from each other. We support each other. We discuss current events. We laugh at ourselves and our dogs. We're happy, and we need somewhere to go. We would therefore like the council to reconsider the use of the sports field to include dog recreation, because we don't have an alternative. Thank you.
Thank you, Vic. Any questions for Vic?
It's just a couple. You're not speaking, Tara? You're just in support.
Tara's speaking.
You got to speak as well?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, then, well, yep, okay. I'll save my questions for Tara.
Okay. Yeah, Vicky needs to go.
Oh, no, okay, I guess I'll be so.
Oh, you are. Okay, I'm Tara Hooman. I have a shop in town and my shop is dog friendly. I have a sign on the window, dogs welcome, litter treat guaranteed. And it adds a lot to my life, but it also is very popular with tourists because so many people with dogs are not welcome with their dogs anywhere. I mean, Thames is pretty bad for that. So what happens is that people bring their dogs in, tourists bring their dogs in, and we chat, and they say, there's no way to walk our dogs here. You know, what can we do? And I've previously been able to tell them to go over there. And they've said, this is great, we'll be back. It's really nice to have somewhere where we can let our dogs run. So I think that if we could develop the sports and recreation area over there to be even better for dogs, we could actually promote ourselves as a dog-friendly town, which would be a really good publicity for our town. So many people with camper vans have dogs with them. So I think it could be a financial help to the town. There are places we can go, but we can't, the beaches that we can go to, but we can't go there in the summer, except when it's not a convenient time for any of us to meet. I'm one of the people who live alone, and it's been absolutely great for me to be able to meet up with all these lovely dog owners. But if we have nowhere to go, I'm not sure what we can do. The dog poo is an issue. I totally understand that. I personally rang someone who I know who is the worst offender at letting their dogs do that and said, please stop doing it. And I think there should be a sign up saying, pick up your poo or face a fine of 300. You know, the people who don't pick up the dog shit shouldn't be allowed. I'm personally, and several other of the group, are willing to do poo patrols, go around and check before there's going to be any sporting event, to go around and check that there's no crap anywhere. Another thing is there are quite a lot of elderly people who live sort of on this side of the park on Whangapoa Road, who cut through with their dogs. The alternative is to walk all the way around, and there's no footpath, so they're walking on the road. So I wanted to say a lot more, but the bottom line is we need somewhere to go as a group. It's important. The sports field is used so rarely for sports, and it's used 365 days a year for dog walking.
All day.
All day.
Various times.
Yeah.
People walk their kids to school with their dogs across the field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm conscious of the time.
Yes, thank you.
Any questions for the ladies?
I've saved my questions for Tara. It's Vicky, isn't it?
Vicky, yes.
Yeah. Look, ladies, and as you would know, Tara, I have been a dog owner over the years, had two whopping great Alsatians, but the kids grew up and left home and they're a big responsibility, so I no longer have a dog, but I do totally understand what you're saying, okay? Tara, you've been around for a long time.
Thanks. So have you, John.
Touche. Do you recall, Tara, back in the early 2000s, mid-2000s, the community working together with the council, the community sports groups working together with the council, identifying that as a green area over there and purchasing it specifically for sports fields? It was about $500,000, I recall, to purchase that, with the long-term view that Coromandel was growing and we would need extra sports fields. Do you recall that, Tara?
No.
Okay, well, that's So that's number one, it was.
Can I just interrupt, sorry?
Yes.
Wasn't it sports and recreation?
No, it's sports fields.
Oh, I
Sports
understood it was
fields.
sports and recreation.
Sports fields. So that was the long-term view, and it nearly broke the community at that stage. It was $500,000 out of our reserves, so long-term view. Are you, you wouldn't know that we had a representative from the sporting groups from rugby in touch here this morning as well, saying how they now require those fields because of the way sports is growing. So we're trying to balance the books a little bit, all right? Are you aware that actually does have a sports field designation over it? It's designated sports fields?
We didn't know that.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, so I'm asking these questions so that you sort of learn a little bit along the way. And you wouldn't be aware, I don't believe, that this community board can't just today say that's, no, there's a process they have to go through because it's designated sports fields.
Yeah.
Would you ladies be receptive to another area being developed that was specifically for dogs and dog friendly, but not that area?
If there was something equivalent, absolutely. I mean, we've been research, we've been up the 309, we've been
Particular reserve, we can't go there any
but
longer.
that, the council told us that was council land and it isn't.
Mm.
So we got into trouble.
Well, these things don't happen overnight. I mean, it would require an approach to the community board saying there was a need for it, and then we would start the process of looking and saving money and putting money aside for that sort of thing. So it wouldn't be.
Wouldn't it come out of dog registration?
Dog registration already covers a heap of things, and there's actually, it's not a money maker for council at all. Okay, there's enforcement, there's, there's.
But it's the case again of the people who toe the line and play by the.
Oh, absolutely.
Are penalised by the few people.
Absolutely. I never got pinged for anything when I had a dog, but there were people that were responsible. So I'll just put it to you that that's the story with that area up there. It was always, as a result of community desire, identified as an area for sports in the future.
Vicky, you said that you didn't think that the Patakiri Reserve was suitable for the demographic of dog walker. What did you mean by that?
Well, a lot of the people that we walk with are older people that try and drive into the parking area at Patakiri. You're driving through potholes, over mounds of metal, in between boats and trailers and commercial vehicles that are full of logs, and it's not fenced.
Yeah, onto a main road.
Main road.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about what we could do to make that a better area more suitable for you. I mean, fencing has been brought up already this morning to keep the children, keep the adults and the dogs inside. Yes. But other than that,
it gets flooded, very mucky and went, underfoot.
Yeah. Drainage thing.
But look, we just want somewhere safe where we can walk our dogs.
Somewhere safe, whereas
as a community.
And I mean, walking dogs is one thing. The dogs need to stretch out. They need to be able to chase a ball and run and do all of those things that dogs do and humans should do.
One last question. Mr. Chair, I know. Because I'm not allowed to enter into discussion, you've always got to ask you, are you aware?
Sure.
Then it's more for Vicky, that there is a lot of, council put a lot of drainage pipes and what have you under those, under that particular field. It's always looked like a paddock, but it actually has got a lot of drainage and whatnot put in there at great expense for future sport. Were you aware of that?
Yeah, well, there's gratings.
You can see it there, so obviously.
But you're talking this was in 2003, did you say?
No, 2000 is probably when it all happened.
Yeah, well, when it'll be 20 years, when does the future happen?
Future vision, it's happening now.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, Tara.
Thank you for listening.
Lovely talking to you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Vicky.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Sorry, Peter.
That's all right, we've still got a few more topics to go through.
Oh, have we? Yeah. No more.
Hello.
Kia ora, how are you?
Kia ora.
Hi, Raymond. I read this.
Got The floor is yours.
Sorry about the distance, but it's the COVID rules that we have to live with.
Is just, sorry, but anyway, here we are. Thank you very much for listening to us yet again. You've got on the 26th, this was received on the 26th of October, I think you have these papers that when sent in. Does that form part of your agenda today, because it made it in time for the agenda?
No.
Could you clarify that? So how long before a meeting does something have to arrive in order to get on the agenda, please?
About 2 weeks before a meeting.
We thought it was like 7 days.
Yeah, about 2 weeks to get onto an agenda.
2 weeks,
Yep.
okay, thank you. I didn't know that. Thank you for clarifying that. So that means this item will be discussed fully by you at the December meeting? Is that how that works or not?
Possibly. Yep.
Sorry, can I just, sorry, I did send an email explaining it to Wendy that this is the last meeting of the board this year.
Okay.
That we had missed the agenda and therefore it couldn't be. And that's why I offered the opportunity of attending public forum. But no, this is the last full meeting of this year.
So January or February or whenever.
February, the end of February is the next.
And that might, so this possibly can't, you cannot or you can choose to perhaps discuss.
Well, we're actually,
that we've requested on page 1.
We're in public forum, so this is your opportunity to speak to us now.
Yes.
And then if anything falls out of that, then we'll take that up later. But this is public forum, so it's not a discussion as such, it's an opportunity for you to speak to the board.
Yes, no, discussion, no, I'm not. So there's an issue that I'd like to raise, and that is, there's 3 issues really. The community board has stood firm in the past on the issue of what the community has said that they would like to have happen in our wilderness regarding wild animal control. And unfortunately, we have people who, yes, they do really good trapping, they do all sorts of good things, but one of the things that they do is poison. And I think if you saw the publication with this tiny map, and you've got the full map there, it's clear that the Moiha Environment Group not only does good work, and I was one of the early members of it, they also use residual poisons, which is something that our community board and we are seriously concerned about. Now, the reason you don't hear a lot about that in the local papers is that there is now separate broad censorship. We understand that this is really a publication of the business community, and we understand that they probably don't want necessarily controversy in their publication. So hence, the key has been edited in here so that you don't actually read. The community doesn't see that it's the Moiha Environment Group that is putting 1080 on our boundaries. Like, this is our backyard here. This is a map of Port Charles. Port Charles is a little community that you're all probably pretty familiar with, or most of you have at least visited. And so these are human beings living here. We are living here, and it's on our back. It was going to be on our back road until we heard about it. So now, the latest thing that they've put out, especially that specifically right now, it's in Tamiaro because the signs have gone up. They've put out difascinone and cholecalciferol, seriously residual poisons. Difascinone is not used by DOC at the moment down in Nelson because it's been shown to wipe out bat populations. Now, residual bat populations, who knows if there are any in Tamiaro? There are people who know more about bats than I do on the mountain. But these are the reasons why we're really seriously opposed. You're not hearing the controversy, and we don't want controversy. We would like to work together. We would like to protect the Ngāhere together. But we do not want, any more than you want, residual poisons in our community. You wouldn't want 1080 in a bait station. A World Health Organization, the number one toxin listed, one of the number one toxins listed by the World Health Organization. You wouldn't want that on your boundary either. And so what we are saying is we don't want that on our boundaries, and we want our community board to stand up and articulate, like put out at least a letter to the Chronicle saying, even if it's just saying we remind our community, you don't have to come up and say, we are really grumpy with the Moyha Environment Group. I'm not asking for that. I'm asking for you to say what it is that our community board supports so that our communities can feel more supported, because we are up against, as you know, the Regional Council, the Department of Conservation. Oops, excuse me, my little crickets here. Let's see if I can turn that off. That's probably my amount of my 5 minutes actually. So if there's anything that you'd like to ask me, please do, because if there's anything to clarify, that's why I'm here this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wendy, and then we'll have.
Oh, sorry, Wendy, are you going to speak?
Yes.
Oh, beg your pardon. Okay, I'll wait till.
Yes. Good morning. Right. So Rayhana has made it clear that we're not only facing aerial 1080 poisoning on our public conservation lands, but we've now got toxins increasingly in variety and strength and mixture being spread through our community in bait stations. That's happening all over the peninsula. Port Charles is one specific example. Now, the community board has had from us representations. In particular, this open letter has been copied to the community board, 2017, 800 Coromandel and general public and conservation groups signed this letter opposing the use of TN80 in our environment. And you've got the resolutions, 10 years of community board resolutions against the use of TN80 and our preference for hunting and trapping without poisons. So this is surely enough to establish the community board's position. And so what I've asked for in my correspondence with the board, 24th of October, is that you will support our request to the Minister of Conservation for a Zoom meeting. And there are 6 people who have written little backgrounds to that request. So, because this is your last meeting, I'm asking that you would accept my presentation now and my request that you would write a letter to the Minister of Conservation saying the community board recognises the opposition at large of the public of this ward in opposing the use of poisoning of our environment, and that the community board supports the request for a Zoom meeting. So that's the urgent, the most important message that I want to bring, that please write to the Minister saying that you support our request. And you've got all the documentation from me for that. So thank you very much. And then there are other issues I've raised in correspondence, but this is the really important issue for us, to actually speak to the Minister in person. And the rest you can pick up from my correspondence.
Okay, thank you, Wendy, and thank you, Rayhana. Are there any questions?
I'm just going to, I just have one. Wendy and Rayhana, thank you for coming, and we know that this is an issue, an ongoing issue. I'm just wondering if you're both aware, and I think we've spoken of it before, of councils, that council has on their reserves, their parks and reserves, as part of their parks and reserves, of not having TN80 on those parks and reserves, and that's as far as our jurisdiction can go. But I just wondering if you're aware of that. Just
that's great. It would be great if it would extend to glyphosate and all of the other dreadful things that use. But I understand it's the jurisdiction, and we understand from TCDC having been through the same process. However, it doesn't stop the community board from saying this is what we resolved in these years, and we'd like to clarify to the community again. And you know, people look at this little publication, they look for information and guidance, and it would be really great. I mean, I think John Morrissey did do something, a similar thing, support of the Haratonga, when there was the issue dealing with all the ongoing issues over there. So it would be great if the people who are here today would feel confident to say, to actually clarify that, and put it out in the public arena. It would just be something helpful, given the nature of censorship at the moment in the media.
Yep, thank you very much. Yeah, we'll take that into consideration. See where we go.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, ladies.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It should be. It should be. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6.
These three are all in the same bubble.
All together?
Good morning.
Good
morning.
How are we all?
Where do I go?
Oh, just where you are, it's just fine, yep.
I'm Paul Newdale. I've been in this community for 21 years now, and I'm a dog owner and a dog walker. And up until recently, one of our regular places to walk the dog was the Pound Street paddock. And because it's probably one of the safest places in town. There's not many places in town you can walk your dog. And this one is, there's no traffic, there's easy parking, and you can walk up there, let your dog run free for a while for exercise, and plus you meet loads of other like-minded people there. And suddenly, as you all know by now, last month, we walked up there, and then there were these big red signs, no dogs, $300 fine, bang, We didn't have any consultation about this. We've walked it for, I probably think, 15 years. And suddenly there's this, without anything or consideration, for a very growing number of people in this town, it's very popular. But unfortunately, I've got to say, it's not a dog-friendly town at all. And people are usually about my age, or the ones, or older, or young, slightly younger, who do this sort of thing. And we are now being restricted more and more signs going up. When summer comes along, we'll have the beach restrictions coming in. We won't be able to walk there. So it seems very unfair that this space is now gone. There even used to be dog training classes there. The lady from Whitianga from Shine Canine came over. It was a meeting place for all of us, and for many years, and now just without anything, it's gone, and then nobody's given us an alternative to walk anywhere. So we have to fit in little alleyways and that where there's not a sign or on a certain date or time to try and walk our pets. And I did write a letter, and I think it got passed on to the Thames department. I did get a response from Kim Ward, I think his name was. He was very apologetic. He said the way it was handled was not good. The way it was so just there without anybody being talked about or anything. And he said his hands were tied, and he said if you wanted to get any results, you've got to go back to your community committee to talk it over. Because I know people are going to turn and go, oh, well, it's designated for sports area, always has been, always will be, that's it, set in stone. But I think it could be shared. It could, when there's not, we all know it hardly ever gets used for sport. I know because I walk there most days, and I have done, and I know last year twice maybe it was used for touch. Apart from that, it just sits there. And this whole amenity, if we could share it with them, we won't walk our dogs here in the season when they're playing a certain sport. But the rest of the time, and if we had the right facilities there, the bag dispensers and the bins and everything, and signs to say, and if you want to fine, put a fine up there, people who do not clear up $300 fine, not just to walk your boots through the paddock. So, yeah, all these things, I think there's a community that's been forgotten in this town, and all other recreational groups get their say and get their space, but we don't. So rather than just sort of shelve it, I think it needs some thinking about. I really do think we're getting a bad deal here. We're ratepayers. We pay our $80 a year, and we've got more dogs, it's 160 or whatever, and we don't get anything back for that. So it really does need a rethink on their behalf.
Thank you, Vaughan.
Don't want to repeat yourself, but...
Are there any questions for Vaughan?
Probably, yes.
Are the ladies going to speak as well? Are you going to speak as well?
Yes, I would like to.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, well,
I'll
maybe
say-
we'll leave questions to the end and
I'll
then
say
we'll have a bit of a...
Okay, thank you.
You do it once.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
A response.
Sorry, we were...
I'm Jan Linklater, for those of you who don't know, and I'm assuming you've all read my letter because I left it here. Is that a correct assumption? So I'm not going to repeat that. I live on Pangapur Road with 2 dogs and a husband. And I've walked my dogs at least 3 times a week in that patch for many years. I talked to Glenys and Wayne Robertson yesterday, and as you know, they live just by that area, and they spend a lot of time looking out the window. And they said that 30 people a day on average used to walk through that. Some of them dog owners, some of them not, but 30 people a day. Since that sign, 2 or 3 at most, and often one of those is a disobedient dog owner. So completely dead space. She said in the months since the sign's gone up, she's seen 2 sports occasions or 2 exercise occasions. It's a dead area, and it's disgusting in my book. I yesterday morning watched a lady from Pangapur Road with her 2 small children and a black Labrador, and she walked them along the concrete path on our road that stops at that Pound Street, doesn't go on round, it's just ditch after that. And she had to let the 2 small children go on to walk to school. She couldn't take her dog across Pound Street, so the 2 small children walked to school. Probably okay, but it shouldn't be necessary in this dead area to stop a lady walking with her dog on the lead through that area to town. It's a safe transit. In my medical centre in England, you may have detected that I'm basically English. There's a sign on the road. Arthritis, ? Dog lead. I have severe arthritis. If I don't walk, I can't walk. My doctor, a local doctor, says he doesn't believe I should be able to walk, but I do, and it's my 2 dogs that keep me going. If they weren't there, I'd stay in bed longer. I'm not alone. Huge numbers of elderly here, many of them slightly crook, and they have dogs, and they assembled in Pound Street for social and dog exercise. But you know that. All I want to say now is we're feeling marginalised. We're far less important than visitors with a new dump station, laundry facilities for campers, and advanced mountain bike trails. All lovely, but then the residents who are ratepayers ignored, and dogs are a pest. So we've had enough, and I'm not going to ignore it. And I think whatever's set in stone can be smashed. You can alter these things. You're not telling me that a rule 20, 30 years ago cannot be adapted. I don't believe it. I wrote my same letter to Mr. Morrissey. I didn't even get an acknowledgement. Thank you.
Thank you. Right.
Hi, everybody. My name's Sally Stephen, and I also wrote a letter, which hopefully you have. Yes. Right. So I've been a ratepayer in Coromandel for 20 years, and I've been living here for 7 permanently. And over all of that time, we've always had a dog. And I've always found it really difficult to know where to walk the dog off lead. I don't find it easy, particularly in the summer when the Long Bay, Tucks Bay and Waina Bay beaches are not available during the day. And as you know, a lot of the tracks have limited access for people with dogs. Even if you can walk a dog on a track, it's a bit like follow the leader. It's exercise, but it's not socialisation for them. And that's very important for dogs, especially young dogs. We want them to be well socialised and exercised so that they don't turn into problem animals that might involve dog control officers and so on. I think that Jack's Point or Patukirikiri is the designated area, but I never go there because it's not fenced. And only the other day we were driving past and a dog ran in front of the car chasing birds and so on, as they do sometimes. And it was really quite alarming. So all the dog owners that I know don't use that area. When I found Pound Street, I was so delighted because I didn't know about it previously. I didn't know it was supposed to be a sports field. I'd never seen any sport played there. And it was just great for the dogs and great for the dog owners to have somewhere that was relatively well fenced and not involving a busy road adjacent to it, except for Whangapoa Road. So since I wrote my letter when we saw the sign go up at Pound Street, the situation's become even worse because we were directed by council staff to Te Tiki Street, and we were even given a map with a highlighted area that showed that we could walk from there following the stream to Hauraki Road, which, as we now know, is not an option, and it's private land, and we didn't know that, and council staff may not have known that either. So with summer coming, we're at a bit of a loss really because the beaches will no longer be available during the daylight hours. So I'd just like to describe an area in suburban Auckland where there is what I'd call a gold standard dog exercising facility. Just in a suburb, it's quite a big block. It's got quite a lot of bush. You can have tracks crisscrossing through the bush. You come through to a clearing where there's actually dog agility equipment and a stream. Some dogs really love that. You can carry on further and there's a grassed area where they can chase balls and run around and chase each other or whatever. Then you return to a car park which is off the road. There's a rubbish bin. There's signage which says what you can and can't do. There's also a receptacle which people leave their plastic bags in that they want to recycle, and you can take a bag from there if you've forgotten one. So there's incentive to make sure you pick up poo. And it's great. And it would be so good if we could have something like this in Coromandel. It would be a model for lots of towns in this area. And I wonder, when I think about the number of dogs there are in the TCDC area, is it Ron Ward? Is it the compliance officer?
Ken Ward.
Yeah. What? Ken, sorry, Ken Ward. He told me there were 5,000 roughly licensed, permit license paying dogs or dog owners in Coromandel TCDC area, and at $80 a pop that translates to about 400,000. And in Colville, Coromandel ward, 644 dogs, and that's around 52,000. And I'm just wondering where that money goes. Obviously, some salaries have to be paid.
Yep.
And registration has to be managed, but.
Just have to point out the time, I'm sorry.
Right, but let's see if we can improve this situation because it's really not working for us at the moment.
Thank you, Sally. Yep. Are there any questions for the trio? Tom.
A couple of things. Thanks for your presentation, guys. Okay, I appreciate that. I am an ex-dog owner. I had 2 big Alsatians for a number of years, so I totally get what it's like owning a dog and exercising it. First question, did you send me an email or a letter?
I delivered copies of a letter here and sent an email to Ms. Clark.
That's me. Okay, look, I apologise, I have no recollection of that, but if I didn't get back to you, my bad, okay?
No.
Okay. But anyway, we'll talk now. You won't be aware, you may very well be born, but are you ladies aware that back in early 2000s, mid-2000s, I was on the community board and council back then?
Sorry, I'm 15 and I find it very difficult to hear you.
Vaughan may be aware, but you 2 ladies may not be. Back in the early 2000s, mid-2000s, I was on the community board council at that stage, and there was a number of meetings with community groups in this town. Are you aware of that?
No,
you wouldn't be aware. And those meetings were to source for future use and growth sports facilities in this town. So that came about as a result of a desire and a request from the community for.
What date was that?
Mid-2000s. Mid-2000s. Early 2000s. Yeah. So it was a number of years ago, but it was done with a lot of vision as to what was going to be required into the future for sporting groups in this town.
And is there an update on that?
And so what happened was, at great expense, and it depleted this community board's reserves, we brought the property known as Tim Turner's land for $500,000. It was a lot of money in those days. It seems pretty cheap these days, I'll give you that. So that was the desire and the vision from the community at the time for future use. There was a lot of piping and topsoil put onto those grounds for that purpose down the line. You wouldn't be aware also that this morning we had a representation from the rugby group and the touch group that said they now need those grounds. They have grown to the point where they need them. So we have to balance the two. We have to balance the two. Sorry?
Put a path around the outside. Put a fence like there is on the existing one.
Yeah, okay.
You've asked your question and you've had an answer?
Me?
Yeah.
Yep, that's fine. So would you be receptive to another area somewhere that was specifically catering for dogs?
I don't think we have to exclude other people walking through it just because their dogs in.
Okay, that's fine. I'll leave it at that. Thank you very much. Yep.
Okay, so.
So what happens now? We just get.
Well, we can't do anything today. Today is a public forum, so this is your opportunity to voice your concerns. There are bylaws involved because that is currently by value of a bylaw, it is designated as a sports reserve, and that designation is in place because the touch and rugby clubs have indicated they want to use that land now. And we haven't really enforced this bylaw up until recently because it hasn't been used. But now they have designated sports field, and the people that want to use the sports field have indicated they would like to start doing that. So we have had to put the signs up for that. But like you actually pointed out, nothing's set in stone. So we will have a discussion about this and we'll see what can be done. There is already a designated dog exercise area and it's inadequate. I granted that. And we've heard that many times today. So just bear with us and we'll see what we can do.
Can I just ask one question about the memorial field along Hauraki Road and the property at the end of Albert Street by the stream, where there's also some planting? Would it be acceptable for us to take our dogs there?
Public land, isn't it?
So the one on Albert Street where the recent planting happened for the Coromandel 200 is not a council reserve, it's a regional council reserve. I'm not aware that you are not allowed to use it. I'd need to find out. And where was the other one you asked about?
Correct. Memorial.
As far as I'm aware, there's no dog ban on that area.
That's fencing on the road. A wire fence on the road so that if you take a dog in, they don't run across the road. It's not expensive, one wire fence along it. Ross would do it in the afternoon.
Okay.
It would be good to have options.
Yes, I get that, and especially in the summer. We've heard that all morning. So yeah, you're not alone in
dogs by now.
I have to move along because there are other speakers and we have a full agenda today too. So thank you for your voicing your concerns.
Thank you.
There were just copies of the email that I sent to you.
And we've got those, we've got those born. Did you get a copy of Mr. Morrissey of the letter?
I would actually take it, just see, I actually don't recall the name.
No, okay, well, we all have lots of emails, don't we?
What do we do?
I'll just give you that one in case.
Well, thank you.
We did get them.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, Bubbles has been very good at passing.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I never got this from Bubbles.
A little bit scary, it's not scary at all.
Hello,
Straight out.
Welcome, Linda. The floor is yours.
Hi, Linda. Tēnā koutou katoa. Good morning, everyone. My name is Linda McKellar and my husband Pete and I have lived on the Coromandel Peninsula for the past 45 years, arriving in Kennedy Bay, Hauratonga, in 1976. That's just if people don't know me. Sorry, my reading glasses, I can't look up. I have been asked by Laura Mountjoy to attend this meeting as she has not been well. I have been one of the people interested and committed to helping to reinstate a bus service between Coromandel and Thames. There are many people living in Coromandel and surrounding areas, including the Thames coast, who would welcome and use and benefit from such a service. We look at the success of the Thames Town bus service that Dennis Teague saw a need for and has succeeded in achieving. The price of fuel is now also a new factor for many families. We have a 43-year-old son with Asperger's syndrome, which is on the autism spectrum, who does not drive or own a car, who lives in Hamilton with support from Community Living Trust. His only option to be able to visit his home is for us to drive to Hamilton to pick him up. That is 2.25 hours each way, which equals 4.5 hours travel. There is now a bus from Hamilton to Te Aroha, which he has used twice recently, and we meet him there, which has saved us 1 hour of travel. That is as good as it gets. For over 20 years, he used the bus service from Hamilton to Coromandel and return that was available 7 days a week. We also have lost most of the ferry sailings to Auckland, something he used to visit family friends during long holidays. Locals also use this service to link to the airport or for other connections in Auckland. Community Living Trust has done a survey in Coromandel of older persons and found a lack of public transport was a major issue. Pamela Greeley has offered to help create a business plan for a bus service, as we understand that is what the council has asked for. What is the most useful thing the Bus Matters group needs to do to resolve this problem at the moment? Please.
Thank you, Linda. Are there any questions for Linda?
fine, thanks.
No, well, you may be aware that it's on our agenda.
Yes,
What to do next, and so,
Yes, what should we be doing?
yeah, what should you,
What should we be doing to?
It's not a Q&A session in public forum like that. It's an opportunity for you to express, your concerns, and we have got a number of options that we're going to discuss further. And yeah, it's public. You're welcome to stay for them, but probably just tie ho for another couple of hours, and we'll see what that discussion comes to, and if there's anything that we need bus matters to get into, then we'll be in contact with you.
That would be great.
Does that work out?
Yes, no,
Yeah.
appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Linda. See you later.
Thank you. Right, so no more public forum speakers? So-
I've taken my mask off.
Right. Okay, well, there were other people that indicated that they may appear, but we'll just resume our meeting in that case, and if there's no public, we can take our masks off. So I need a mover to
Done.
done and a seconder.
Yep.
That was Kim, yep. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Yes, okay, thank you. Next item being 1.3, conflict of interest. Is there any conflict of interest I wish to declare? There being none, next item 1.4, items not on the agenda. Anyone got anything to
I do have
raise?
one possible thing that I want to bring up in the work programme, or add to the work programme. I've already spoken to Bruce Hinton about it, and it's about the signage, the directional signage at the roundabout. And I think Ed knows
Why
about
is that a
it.
conflict of interest?
No, yeah. So this just would be part of the work programme.
Okay.
I don't know if I need to bring it up.
No, you can discuss it during your work programme.
Yep, okay.
Well, Bruce, the road and checking, yeah. So there being none, item 1.5, minutes for confirmation. We just need a mover that they are true and correct record.
Yep, I'll move that.
Thank you. Do we have a second for that?
I did.
Yep, John, all those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against, carried. Thank you. And the next item on the agenda is morning tea.
Yes, thank goodness.
Oh, it actually is.
Yeah, so we'll adjourn and we'll come back 25 to, eh?
I need a coffee. Donna. Troy.
Hey, Bubbles.